will have a complete shutdown of transport of all the essential commodities. The eatery services, the food industry will almost be shut. In a sense, you will not have any outlets that will be open. So yes, it is indeed a curfew of sorts, and it is a self-imposed voluntary curfew on the advice of Prime Minister Modi for the entire population of India. This is done to really ensure that at least for a day we restrict the spread of COVID-19 as much as we can. It's all about preventive measures, and it's all about ensuring that COVID-19 does not spread anymore, and this is indeed one way to go about it. A self-imposed voluntary curfew that will be observed on the 22nd of March, coming Sunday, from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. None of everything, pretty much everything will be shut. And in some more big news coming in pertaining to the Janata curfew on Sunday, number metro services will also be shut on Sunday. Obviously, the BMRCL has extended its support to the Janata curfew, and hence you will not have the metro trains plying. So yes, you're all by yourself. No autos and no cabs and no metro as well. Obviously, no buses also will ply on the streets of Bengaluru and elsewhere in the state. So it's all by ourselves. We are on our own in a sense if we were to travel on Janata curfew day, because one after the other you've had all modes of transport almost being on lockdown on Sunday. So after the cab association, that is after Ola, Uber, and after the auto association, now we have Number Metro also coming forward and extending its support for Janata curfew on March 22nd. BMRCL services will be stopped, will be shut on Sunday. It remains to be seen if post 9 p.m. we'll have any services that will function, because as per Prime Minister himself, the Janata curfew will be observed from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. So 9 p.m. is when the curfew ends, and as we just heard from one of the auto association presidents, after 9 p.m. the autos will be available. So whether it be the same case for BMRCL, whether metros will be available after 9 p.m. is a big question. In fact, for more on this very story, I'm being joined in by Yashwant Chauhan, who happens to be a spokesperson for the BMRCL. Many thanks, Mr. Yashwant, for speaking to us and for joining us on this broadcast. What is your stand on the Janata curfew, and more importantly, will the metro services be functional after 9 p.m. on Sunday, because that's when the Janata curfew comes to an end?
No, actually now the Janata curfew we have set but 7 to 9. So we are keeping our whole services on that day. This is to encourage to stay the public encourage the public to stay indoors, maintain the social distancing, and it is also becoming essential to curtail the spread of COVID-19.
Correct. So this indeed, Mr. Yashwant, this comes at a time when the BMRCL, the metro, number metro itself is not doing too great, with the partial lockdown already in place and which will extend up until 31st of March. So how do you see this full shutdown of sorts for a day? How do you see this really impacting your overall finances?
See, usually Sundays our operation was only between 7 and it is used to start at 7 in the morning.
Right.
Okay, and it is continued up to the night, that is up to 12 midnight.
Right.
So now only additional thing is for the 3 hours we are closing it. So this is only to see that, to avoid the spreading of the COVID-19, not only that we are closing it on Sunday the March, there are certain other precautions also is being taken.
Right.
So that will be sending it on the press note very shortly.
Right. In fact, coming to the precautions, while all of this is really taking place, Janata curfew itself is to ensure the COVID-19 does not spread. What is BMRCL really doing on the ground at the metro stations and probably in
that is
trains?
what I said. We are already discussing
Right.
in the points on what we should do it, so that we are coming out with shortly in the press press release maybe within an half an hour to 1 hour. Okay.
Right. So it could really start with sanitizers to start off with. Many thanks, Mr. Yashwant, for joining us. That was one of the spokespersons for BMRCL, making the stand of BMRCL very clear that they are with Prime Minister Modi on this, and they will take part in the Janata curfew. So no metro services will be operational on Sunday, and that's where things stand at this point in time. But the bigger question, of course, is once the Janata curfew is over and once you have the services resuming as usual, what are the kind of precautionary measures that will be in place? You had Ashwin Chauhan, the spokesperson, affirming that there will be a press briefing where the BMRCL will come out and explain as to what kind of measures are being taken on ground to arrest the spread through the passengers. Of course, the Petrol Bunks Association has also extended support to the Janata curfew. Petrol bunks across 22 districts in the state will remain shut on Sunday. But here's where the important information is. Petrol bunks will run as usual in Bengaluru, Mysuru, Mandya and Kolar. Obviously, this is one of the most essential commodities for day-to-day life, and even if it is a Janata curfew, petrol is something that will continue to remain available, given the fact that you have several important emergency services really depending upon the supply of fuel at petrol bunks. So obviously you have ambulances and other emergency vehicles that can go ahead and avail the services. They can get their vehicles fueled so that emergency services can be operational. Again, it's not by any means flouting the Janata curfew called by Prime Minister Modi, because the Prime Minister himself had spoken about how the essential commodities, essential services will continue to be rendered even on Janata curfew day, because they have to. So this includes the ambulance services, medical services, emergency services like fire, police, and of course petrol as well, to fuel these very services. And there's some big news coming in. Janata curfew to not affect transportation department in Karnataka. BMTC buses to ply across city amidst Janata curfew. There you have it. It almost looks as though come March 22nd, you will only have KSRTC buses that will be plying. BMTC buses that will be plying on the streets of Bengaluru. That apart, the KSRTC will be taking a call on bunk based on number of commuters. So it is not really a shutdown of sorts that the BMTC and KSRTC are observing at this point in time. BMTC has made it clear that its buses will ply across the city. So if you don't have the auto, if you don't have the metro, you will, if you don't have the cabs as well, you will definitely have the BMTC buses. So at least one mode of transport apart from your private vehicles will be open on Sunday, and that is the BMTC. What about KSRTC? They will be taking a call on whether to take part in the bund, whether to extend the support to the bund based on the number of commuters. So if there is going to be less number of passengers, then they may call off their services. But if they have enough number of passengers, then you may as well see KSRTC buses flying. So that's where things stand as per the buses here in the city and the state. BMTC buses, you will still be able to catch one on Janata curfew day on Sunday, while KSRTC buses, it all depends on the number of commuters, the footfall that the bus stations will experience. Joining us on the phone line is Laxman, Savadi, obviously the Transport Minister of the state. Many thanks, Mr. Laxman, for speaking to us. BMTC buses will continue to operate and KSRTC not too sure. This comes at a time when every single other mode of transport has extended its support for Janata curfew. Your stand on this? Mr. Laxman Savadi, is my voice audible?
ಹಲೋ
ಮಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣ್ ಸವದಿ, ನನ್ನ ವಾಯ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ?
ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟ್ರಾಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸರ್. ಇದು ನಮಗೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ, BMTC ಬಸ್ಸಸ್ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಸರ್ವಿಸಸ್ ಜನತಾ ಕರ್ಫ್ಯೂ ಡೇನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಡೇನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಸೆನ್ಷಿಯಲಿ ಕಮೋಡಿಟಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಹಲೋ
ಎಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್.
ನಮ್ಮದು ಎಸೆನ್ಷಿಯಲಿ ಕಮೋಡಿಟಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಲ್ಲ. ನೆಸಸರಿ ರೂಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಇಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ರೂಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಇಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ರೂಟ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. 100% ನಾವು ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೆಸಸರಿ ನಮ್ಮದು ಎಸೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಕಮೋಡಿಟಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ.
Right. Right. In fact, the next question will be asked by my colleague Suraj. So, Suraj, we can probably discuss about how these essential routes will really function, and what about KSRTC buses as well.
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣ್ ಸೌದಿ ಅವರೇ, ಇವಾಗ KSRTC ಬಸ್ಗಳು ಮತ್ತೆ BMTC ಬಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇವಾಗಲೇ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಲಾಸ್ಗಳು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
ಅದರ್ ದನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಬೇರೆ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮದು ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಂದ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನೆಸೆಸರಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲೇಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೂಟ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಇಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ರೂಟ್ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
ಕರೆಕ್ಟು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇವಾಗ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿರೋದು ಯಾರು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರಲೇಬೇಡಿ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದಿನ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಮೆಟ್ರೋ ಅವರು ಕರೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಆದರೆ BMTC ಮತ್ತು KSRTC ಅವರು ಫುಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ ಅಂತ.
ಹಲೋ
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣ್ ಸೌದಿ ಅವರು, ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಕಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಟ್ರಾವೆಲಿಂಗ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ.
ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ, ಇವಾಗ BMTC ಮತ್ತು KSRTC ಅವರು ಫುಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಮೆಟ್ರೋ ಅವರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಂದನೂ ಮೆಟ್ರೋ ಅವರು ಫುಲ್ ಬ್ಯಾನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಏನಾದ್ರು
ನಮ್ದು KSRTC ನಮ್ದು ಕಮೋಡಿಟಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರೋದ್ರಿಂದ
Okay. Thank you, Laxman Saudi. Well, Adarsh, this is what Laxman Saudi had to say. Well, even though we couldn't connect properly and understand, but on one hand, what we can understand is that the metro is not going to be functional, but here it is, because it is a necessity commodity here, they will have to run their services at this point in time.
Right, Suraj, many thanks for that quick conversation with the Deputy Chief Minister himself, the Transport